So we're here, Leading for Deeper Learning, live at NYSCOSS, and I get the great privilege to be joined by one of my colleagues and really the leader of the DS group. He's the current chair of the DS group, Dr. David O'Rourke. So thank you so much for making a couple minutes to come chat with me. I mean, I always like to
Thanks,
talk
Jonah.
to you, but now we got headphones and microphones.
I know, it just feels like our regular conversations, but I'm a colleague.
Yes,
A colleague.
Absolutely.
That's all.
So we got a couple things that we're going to run through, but first, when and if folks are listening, you're a thinker, you're passionate, and so if you were to describe like the values, the value set, or what you bring, what you step into leadership to keep consistent in your work each day. Tell us what do you keep it centered to keep the work going?
Well, it's got to be kid centered. It's got to be student centered, and I think that there are some opportunities now with some of the rethinking of the design of the work that we're trying to do with kids. If exams no longer are the only end, and if we can find multiple ways for students to show they're strong and multiple ways for students to kind of find agency and voice and choice, we have real opportunities, I think, for students to enter into a new, much more engaging experience in their lives. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to try to find, as leaders, ways to tap into the good things that our faculty and staff and that our colleague leaders can bring to that work.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned this idea of exams, and I have always believed that if we are really doing teaching and learning work that students can see themselves in, they're connecting with, exams are kind of low-lying fruit. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Like when we have students who are engaging at a high level, then add the exam in as well. They can do that. They can do that work. Let's shift from. Well, I love that you always keep students at the center, but this 2.5 days, it's adults. They're here, it's connections. You've been involved with NYSCOSS for a long time. I mean, coming to this type of space, winter and fall conference, why do you come here? What do you look forward to? How do you keep that connection thread going in your work?
Well, that's a great question, and I think we as this is my 19th year, I think, in NYSCOSS, and coming to the conference. And every time I try to get a hold of those concepts and ideas, those people and their thoughts that will sustain us and sustain me, and the job evolves too. I think the longer you're in it, I think in leadership of systems, even though we're one or two or three steps removed from classrooms, it's critical to kind of draw down to the classroom, and think as a teacher. And I think when I'm at my best as a leader, I'm working as a teacher, to other leaders, to the council itself and its structures and its decisions, the things that the council prioritizes. But all those things, I think, are fed by the work ultimately of the heart of a school which is a teacher in the classroom with students. And so I think we can never really lose sight of that. I think in our conversations with one another and the relationships that we can form at conferences like this, and when we're forming relationships with the community of thinkers that try to help a whole state move, and so I think the opportunity here is for communities to coalesce around shared value systems that can really move needles. And I think the best days, I mean, I love the job of being a district superintendent, but the best days of the work as a district superintendent, you can move a needle on something that can impact the entire state, and this conference is one of the opportunities to do that.
It is, and people always I love to put proposals in and present, not because I want to get up there and talk, but I like teaching. And in that session, that's the classroom, and then modeling and getting the discussions going. So that That's really important.
And it stretches you. You know, like
Yeah.
I appreciate seeing the sessions you're putting on, and this particular conference I'm not presenting, but I try to at least every other conference to be doing a session, because putting your work out there for others to look at, to critique,
Right.
to engage,
Yeah.
it stretches each of us. You know what I mean? And so we just got done seeing our good colleague Tarina present on her work as a leader, and that pulls things out in all of us. But also, I know that going through that experience of putting together an Ignite session stretched her. You know what I mean? And she has a lot to be proud of as a result of that. I had another component superintendent, James Bialsik, speak about his strategic plan today, and you could see people taking pictures of slides and taking notes. We had 70 brand new superintendents in the state that were identified at the beginning of the session today. I mean, all of them could take away something that they could go deeper with.
So kind of last point you brought up, stretching and new superintendents. The role of superintendent, current landscape without getting into the chaos of the world. Amazing things and changes for the state, but a lot coming at the system. How do you, as a superintendent, handle for yourself and for those in your care, the adults, trying to keep people well, staying, pushing the pace so that we don't atrophy and we can move things forward, and especially for 70 new superintendents? What's your advice to them? Yeah,
I think about this a lot as chair now, and the work of new DSs, district superintendents in the state, coming in. In my role as a district superintendent in Erie 2 BOCES, we've seen an extraordinary new generation coming in too, with some retirements and folks exiting the role, new people coming on, and constantly one of the things is, I think, helping people do good work and learning from the things that I think we all build on the shoulders of those that go before, but that's not to say that those coming into those roles need to replicate what went before. Like, there's good things to be drawn from some of that wisdom and experience and systems, and we need to make sure that we're doing that. So with our new superintendents in my BOCES, we spend a lot of time. Every single meeting with our chief school officers is professional development. We distribute that work. So different folks take turns at sharing what they're great at and what they're doing a great job at. And we try to tap the expertise in the room to know that the jobs are bigger than any one of us. And we got to kind of check our egos at the door and learn together and learn how to lead, as a collective that can kind of come to some shared purpose. I think the same is true for the district superintendents, and I'm privileged to see people coming into the role, and you're not brand new anymore, Jonah, but your impact in the group has been just phenomenal, and I think every single person coming in can bring their own skills and help to stretch the whole group.
Well, hey, listen, it's not arbitrary. It wasn't always like that, and the conditions where new DSs feel comfortable putting themselves out there or sharing is a direct result of your leadership, period.
Thanks.
So,
Thank you.
Cool. I mean, you are a colleague, you're a friend, you're a mentor, and
likewise.
Again, one of my favorite people to talk to, with headphones on, but more importantly, without headphones and a microphone.
That's always a pleasure, and I like I said, I think. The relationships to common purpose. I mean, what gets you up in the morning and what makes you want to do this work, right? When you can build amazing relationships and friendships around a common purpose, that you're trying to get something done for students that has an incredible value from a humanistic standpoint of lifting all people up. I mean, how could be luckier than that? And that's an amazing role. Yeah, it's not. It's not. And
awesome.
So, appreciate you.
Well, I'm glad to be able to walk by your side and do this work.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Appreciate you.